Hello, my name is Nell, and I have things to say. Today I received a call from one of my service providers, one of my support providers, saying that my usual support worker for tomorrow morning was unavailable. She wasn't able to do her shift, and the two other usual workers I have from that organisation were unable to fill it. However, there is a worker available who could do the shift. However, it's a worker that I haven't met before. I was asked by this person on the phone if I would be happy for that person to come and do the shift. And I said, no, I don't want a stranger to see me naked. The person on the other end of the line seemed a little bit confused as to why I was bringing up nakedness when all they offered me was a support worker. I explained that for my morning routine, it involves a worker coming to my house, unlocking my house, coming in when I'm in bed, handling my medication, handling my food, and helping me get undressed and then dressed. I don't feel comfortable with a stranger doing any of that. I don't think anybody would feel comfortable. So no, I don't want this unknown worker doing a shift with me. The thing that vexes me is that I've had to fight for this I had to have this particular argument quite a few times over the past almost 2 years that I've been receiving formal care. I've had to remind these organisations that I don't want a stranger in my home. I don't want a stranger knowing the combination to my key safe. I don't want a stranger knowing what medication I take and where I keep my medication. I don't want a stranger opening my fridge and my pantry and handling my food. I don't want a stranger coming into my house while I'm in bed and seeing me in bed first thing in the morning. I don't want a stranger helping me on and off with my clothing. I don't want a stranger handling my clothing and putting it in the washing machine. I don't want a stranger doing my foot care routine without knowing about my foot condition. There are just a lot of things that I don't want strangers to do, I think justifiably. I don't see this as being picky or difficult or hard to please. I think it's very natural to just exert your right to choose who comes into your personal space, to choose who you trust enough to let into your personal space and to share those intimate and vulnerable things about your life. I think it's very natural and human to want to have choice and control over that. It's quite natural to want to have control over who you let into your personal space or who you let handle things that are important to you. You might have your favorite hairdresser or barber who knows how you want things done and you wouldn't trust your hair with anybody else. You probably have preferences for who you would give your house keys to, or who you would let look after you when you were sick, or who you would let see you in a very vulnerable position. Think about how many people you would be happy to let themselves into your house and walk through your house while you're in bed. You probably have preferences and a limited amount of people who you would want doing that. There's a tendency in disability care and in aged care to a huge degree to assume that if somebody is in a caring role, then they can just go and work with anybody. There's a tendency to forget that people who receive care have these preferences and have a right to choose. For me, it's not enough to know that somebody is experienced and qualified in disability care. It's not enough for me to know that they can look after people. I want to be able to know that they can look after me. I want to talk to them about my situation and explain my preferences, my likes, my dislikes, my conditions, my different needs, and see how they react, see if they understand. And I want to know that our personalities will mesh. If you work with someone that you really have a personality clash with, you'd know how hard that is. And imagine having that in your home. I want to know that the people I'm seeing on a daily basis are people that I can get along with and people that I can trust, who I know will know me well enough to know what I like, to know how to respect my space. I don't want to be seen as an object that needs to be cared for. Feed it, water it, put it in sunlight. I'm not a job that anyone can come and do as long as they're qualified. I am a person. I am complex. I have thoughts and feelings and moods and a personality. All of those things are involved with my care. And just because somebody is experienced in care doesn't mean that they can care for me. Being qualified in disability work doesn't automatically earn you the right to my personal space. I would like to be involved in that decision. I want to be seen as someone to work with, someone to get to know, someone to build connection with, someone who is complex and who isn't just a job that is just there on a roster as a shift where anyone can take it. Sometimes it seems to be forgotten that disabled people are people. We aren't just jobs. Sometimes I jokingly refer to myself as a disabled, because the person in disabled person sometimes seems to be left behind. Left behind in the desire to provide efficient care. And providing efficient care is a very valid and good pursuit, but not at the cost of personhood. And that's what often happens, that sometimes these organizations and providers are focusing on the efficiency of their care, but forgetting that the people they are providing care to have a lot of their own complex things. They are more than a disabled person who needs care. They are a human being. It's not enough for me to be fed, medicated, and dressed. I want to feel comfortable with the people who are helping me live my life. I want to build connection. I want to build trust. I want to feel at home in my home. I want to know everyone who walks in my door. I want to be able to say hello to them. I want to know who they are. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to feel awkward. I want to feel at home, and I want to feel cared for. Since the call I received this morning, I sent an email to somebody, one of my connections there, just explaining some of my qualms and my concerns. And they called me back. They were very respectful. They're going to pass along a lot of the messages and the concerns I have to make sure that people know that I like to be actively involved in my care. I like to choose which staff works with me. I like to interview them. I like to get to know them. And I like to have the final say on who comes into my home to provide care. And they've assured me, they've reassured me that that will be respected, that that's going to be taken note of. And that's very comforting, but I have been reassured before, and yet still these things sometimes pop up, of me being offered a worker who I don't know, or somebody saying, well, we'll send a worker out on a buddy shift, and I've got to say, if I haven't met them, they don't work with me. That's kind of my general rule. If I haven't met them, they don't work with me. I'm happy to meet them, I'm happy to interview them, I'm happy to talk to them about my care and see if I feel that they're right for me. But if I haven't met them, they don't work with me. So it is a regular thing I have to work on to make sure that I am exerting my right to choose who is a part of my care. That's very important to me. I think it's important to every human being, and I think if anyone who is currently doing those sorts of things of trying to organize this care, if they are one day in a position to need care, I think that they will look at it in a very different light, and they will realize, wow, it really is weird to have a stranger come into your home and take care of you. So in conclusion, no, I don't want a stranger coming into my home. But thanks for the offer. All right, bless.